Hey guys, how are we doing? It's Martin Cliffe here. It is Tuesday the 25th of March, I think it is, 2014. It's time for another update. So what's new in the 3 weeks since I posted my last update? Well, if you've obviously followed me on Facebook or whatever, you'll know that my wife Eva has been promoted to head of chemistry here, so that's great. Really excited about that. In my last video I was posting how I'd just officially been employed by the school here, and so I've started my work. Done some lighting for a concert and some sound for an event, so that was cool. Finished wiring up my bass rig, which I'll talk about in a minute, and generally life is ticking along. Met up with some old friends a couple of weeks ago, which was rather nice. Life generally is good. Now, if you are one of those people who delves deep into my YouTube channel or something, and you must be the only one, you may notice that I've archived or turned off or whatever it is some of my old review videos. My reason for this is quite simple, that I didn't think that they were necessarily up to scratch, and so they were the ones generally that were either getting no views at all or kind of negative, thumbs down and stuff like that. Now, I hate the thumbs down system on YouTube. I think I've used it maybe twice in my entire life, because let's face it, most people putting stuff on YouTube are amateurs trying to do something good for the benefit of other people. If you like something, click the thumbs up, and I would appreciate it if you click the thumbs up on my videos. If you don't like it, just leave well alone. Posting disparaging comments, clicking the dislike button is just really dumb, really antisocial, just not good etiquette. So, little rant there. I could rant about other stuff on Facebook as well. I also posted a rant about cancelling TV programmes. As far as I understand it, there is a good chance that Revolution will be cancelled, which is a stupid move because it's great. There's rumours that Starcrossed will be cancelled. They've only screened 5 episodes, for God's sake, give it a chance. There's talk that the Tomorrow People will be cancelled. Again, no, not good news. Crazy Ones, one of the 2 decent comedies that have come out this year. I don't get it at all. I really don't get it. But I think I've pretty much given up despairing about how stupid American television executives' decision making is. So there we go. Went to look at our new apartment the other day, which is nice. I think I posted on Facebook or Twitter or something that it'll be nice to actually have a real studio space. The videos I've shot from my studio here, which is a bedroom, it's awkward, it's cramped. Now the room that we'll move, having it in the new apartment, isn't really any bigger. I think it's a little bit longer. But we won't have to have a bed and wardrobe and all that kind of stuff in there, so that'll be cool. Just a bit of a change of scenery. It'll also be less noisy because it's further away from the road, so I won't have constant road noise. It's really hard to say in the background of my videos, so that'll be cool. So I think that's about it really, other than saying we're looking forward to go off to Vietnam for a week in 2 weeks' time at the start of our Easter holidays. So that'll be cool. Just after Captain America: The Winter Soldier is released, so we're going to go and see that on the Friday night. We go away on the Sunday for a week. That'll be awesome. And so the rest of this video I'm going to dedicate to talking about my new bass rack rig. So I will move the camera and we can have a look at it. So before we look at the effects rig itself, I thought I'd just show you my bass amp, which is a TC Electronic BG250. It's the 1x12 model, and I really like the tone of it. It's not perfect. It makes there's a kind of high-pitched hissing noise. I don't know whether it's a fan or what, but it's annoying. It's present all the time. But yeah, it's got a nice tone, so you kind of put up with that. I haven't tested to see whether it's on the DI yet, but if it is, I'll just DI from earlier in the signal chain. So yeah, not really a problem. It's nice and lightweight. It's reasonably loud. It's not crazy loud. It's not as loud as I expected for a 250 watt amp, but then it's only driving a single 12-inch speaker. So, but it was a good choice for what I needed. So that's the amplifier, my amplifier of choice. Now the pedal board I'm using to control it is once again my trusty RJM Music Mastermind MIDI foot controller. It's my limited edition blue one. I do have a black one as a backup as well. And other than the fact that it's mounted on a Pedal Train mini pedal board, which obviously comes with a nice carrier bag, it's pretty much as you'd expect. It's very, very simple. It's powered by phantom power from the rack, so I don't have to worry about getting power to my footboard. And I've got it set up just with 10 presets. So one is just a no effects plain bass signal. Then alternate one is an octave, has an octave and a envelope filter on it. When I want to do synth bass type stuff. 2 is my kind of standard go-to sound, which has got a bit of compression on it and some boost, just a solid bass sound. I hope the camcorder mic's picking all this up. I haven't got the rig mic'd up yet. But just giving you a quick indication of what I've got. So then the alternate one for 2 just has the envelope filter turned on top of that and a bit of a bass boost. And where that comes into its own is when I'm playing slap bass. So it's just cool to give it that kind of bit of spark. And if I play really sort of soft, it's it gives me a kind of nice dubby kind of tone. So it's a kind of versatile, very touch sensitive tone. 3 has a bit of overdrive. And then alternate 3 has a boost in front of the overdrive to give more gain. Four then is the overdrive with the envelope filter. Touch sensitive sound again. And then alternate 4 brings in a vibe pedal. It's kind of noisy, that one, but it's cool for certain things. And 5 just has chorus and delay for kind of pseudo fretless, kind of jazzy kind of tone. So just a short delay there with a little bit of modulation and some chorus going on. And then the same tone again with the envelope filter. But to be honest, most of those tones are kind of things that you don't use for specific things, maybe a part of a song or if I wanted to do a specific song. So basically my 3 tones are the clean one, the envelope filter for some slap, and then the slightly overdriven one. Because really what more do you need for most, 99% of bass playing you can get away with just those 3 tones. Well, finally, let's look at the actual rack itself. Now there are certain things you can't see and certain things you can see. It's all powered by this ART power base. Signal is currently running through the Korg tuner, although this isn't something that would generally happen. It's just I need to finish up wiring something in the back. My plan is to use, I have an RJM Music Why Not MIDI controlled AB switcher, so I can mute the signal to the amp and send it to the tuner, or split it across both because it's a buffered splitter. So that'll be what will happen, it's just not quite happening yet. And then all the pedals are on a single rack draw. I have 2 RJM Music Mini Effect gizmos controlling them. They're a bit old, they're a bit bad now, they've been in many of my rigs over the last couple of years. And they're the easiest things in the world to program. So as I pull it out, basically we have 10 pedals. I may have to get more of an angle on this. Let's start at the front anyway. We have an exotic EP booster, which is just a clean boost, an exotic SL drive which is set to super bass mode to give me that kind of overdriven Marshall or kind of slightly ampeggy tone. Drive's not terribly high, but just that gives me my grit. Exotic SP compressor, one of my favourite compressor pedals, and nice and small, fits nicely on the draw. Apologise for the messiness of the wiring, by the way. A lot of these are guitar pedals as well, but they're things that just happened to work well with what I was doing. Okay, the other pedals, then we have a full tone Catalyst, which I'm using as a bass boost. Basically, I've got the treble cut slightly, the bass and the mid control turned all the way up, and the volume just slightly high. And what that gives me is that kind of really thick, chewy tone, which is useful, particularly when using the octave or anything, to give me kind of a more sub kind of feeling. And then my other boost is a Custom Audio Electronics 401 booster and line driver from MXR. And most of the time, either this or this is on. either the catalyst for the bass boost or the clean boost, which is from the MXR. They're set to a similar level, but it just gives me two alternative tones. This is more of a hi-fi kind of tone, and this is more of a vintage kind of boosted tone. Now, tucked away here, which you can just about see, is my vibe. It's my Sweet Sound Mofo vibe, which has been in my guitar rig a lot. Not using it in my guitar rig at the moment, so I decided to throw it in the bass rig, see how it sounded, and I like it. There's Electro Harmonix nano bass balls, envelope filter, dynamic filter thing. It's very much a one-trick pony, but what it does well, and I like the tone of it. So there we go. That's the envelope filter in this rig. I love the MXR bass envelope filter, but getting hold of one of them in Hong Kong has proved difficult. So eventually I'll be getting one of them, and I'll be going onto a pedal board system, because this is a heavy shock-mounted rack rig that's very much more for studio or kind of use that I don't need to be able to get in and out. So I'm going to build a basic pedal board on a Pedal Train Junior, I suspect, that will have some of the MXR Bass Innovations pedals. At the back here is a Boss OC3 Super Octave, basically because I can't find an OC2 for a sensible price, and that gives me the octave, the kind of synth bassy kind of octave stuff. It's set with the octave 1 control all the way up and the direct level about halfway. So it's really cool for that kind of sub-y synth bass kind of tone. And then there's two tiny little pedals here from Hotone or Hot One, or don't know. This is the Echo, which is a delay. It's an analog sounding digital delay. It's got a modulation feature that I have turned on, and it's just set for that short delay. Basically, I wanted something that sounded a bit like a carbon copy from MXR, but was small, and this does the trick and was really cheap. And then tucked away here, if I move the camera, we may be able to just about see it. Yeah, is a Hotone Choir, which is a chorus pedal. It has a deep switch, which is cool. It enhances the low end a bit. And again, it's a guitar pedal, but I tried it for bass and it worked well. It sounded like what I wanted it to. So there we go. It works a treat. And everything is powered by the Berkey Flatliner Pro power supply via some clever wiring tricks. Well, not really tricks, but I've had to split some of the outputs to power multiple pedals. I don't think anything's powering more than two things. And the high current AC output is powering this this mini effect gizmo, the top one, which is phantom powering the Mastermind. Because that gives me a 1 amp output, whereas all the other 8 outputs on here are only 200 milliamps, which isn't enough to power a mini effect gizmo and a Mastermind on the single outlet. But most of the pedals are using 30-40 milliamps, so it's easy enough to split one. And I did some kind of playing around to see which ones generated the least noise when shared. And for instance, these two pedals, the two boost pedals, can be powered by up to 18 volts. So they're running off, because this is a tone bone modified one, it has a 15 volt outlet, so they're running off that. Then the three exotic pedals at the front are running off a single outlet. And what else is being split? I think the Echo and the Vibe are running off one outlet, and I think the Choir and the bass balls are running off another. So yeah, most of the pedals are running split, the exception being the Super Octave. Basically because I needed all the other power for the second mini effect gizmo. There is, say, an RJM Why Not that's in the back. The other things in the back that I can't show you very easily is my trusty old Hartkey Bass Attack VXL preamp pedal, which is set fairly clean. It just gives me a little bit of sort of tonal shaping, but what that does also give me is a DI output. So that's set after all these, it's on all the time, and it's just set to my particular taste of tone so that I can leave the amplifiers themselves fairly flat. But as I say, it does also give me the DI output, which is very useful. Eventually, there'll be two significant changes to this. First of all, I will be taking the second output from the first mini effect gizmo, so that will, you know, keep the octave and the compressor and the overdrive and the bass boost, but all the kind of weird stuff, the more modulation and echo kind of stuff, won't be from that, and that will feed a second amplifier, probably the 210 version of the TC Electronic BG250, so that'll give me a separate feed to that. And I'm also going to be putting in, again, in the back under the shelf, because the big advantage of this tuner being really shallow is you can fit stuff behind it in the back of the rack. And there will be an RJM Music switch gizmo, which will be in there to control the tone print features on the amplifiers, which enables me to turn on and off extra compression or, you know, different effects, vibrato or whatever on the amplifiers themselves. But I don't have that yet, so that will be something that will come later. I also don't have the second amplifier yet. So I guess the final thing to talk about is the bass itself. It's the only bass I have at the moment. Hopefully that will be something that will change soon. But it is a Yamaha TRB 42 from about 98. I'm going to say it's 98. I can't read the serial number because what I actually have on the back of the headstock is a Hipshot D tuner, which enables me to drop the low string to D from E. But the serial number starts with 8, which is what tells me it's probably a 1998, and certainly I got it in December 1998. It's an active bass, 2 humbucking sort of noiseless pickups, which is really cool. It's trans blue, it's got a few dings. I string it with these, which are Dario EXL 220s, that's 40 to 95 gauge, which are quite light for bass strings. Most people use 45 to 100 or 45 to 105, some people even use 50s. So I had a bit of a struggle finding these in Hong Kong, but the Tonally Music in the main one in Tsim Sha Tsui does stock them, and they're not very expensive. So that was good, because, you know, ordering strings from abroad is a bit of a hassle. I've always used light gauge strings. This is a 35-inch scale length bass, so the lighter gauge strings feel tighter than they would on an ordinary bass. So if you ever use 40s on like a P bass or something, they will feel floppier than they do on this. So yeah, the extra scale length helps. I would probably on a standard 34-inch scale bass use 45s. It's got active controls, treble, mid, bass, boost and cut. I think it's 15 dB either way. I use a Groove Gear fret wrap, which I've reviewed elsewhere, and I tend to have it just over the nut, just to kind of sort of dampen some of the excess string vibrations when I'm playing open strings. If I want it more kind of dubby and muted, I can easily just play it on the neck. Then there's a little Planet Waves clip-on tuner on the back. The Mausio clip lock strap in purple, that again I've had a long time, and I'm actually using a Planet Waves American stage cable from here to the rack rather than my usual Elixir cables, basically because the jack socket on this is a bit funny, and the Elixir cables, because they're quite chunky, the right angle connectors, getting knocked too easily and breaking the signal up and stuff. So I found that these American stage cables, the actual connector is more reliable in this particular bass. They don't sound quite as good. They're certainly not as rugged because they're very thin and flexible, but they're a lot cheaper as well. So yeah, that's a good thing. And high end is less of an issue for bass. Certainly the Laser cable will have more high end clarity, but I don't struggle for high end clarity on this bass. So yeah, it's just a great sounding, really versatile bass. So I've had it as my main bass for over 15 years. So something I've gotten used to. My next bass will almost certainly be a 5-string. It will almost certainly be an Ibanez sound gear. Exactly which model I'm not sure of yet. I've played a few, I like them all. Strangely enough, I hate the Ibanez sound gear 4-strings. The next two thin and weedy, but the 5-string has a good feel, good string spacing, and it sounds great. So there we go, this is my bass. I've fallen back in love with bass playing recently. I've played bass a long time, over 20 years, but it's kind of, sometimes I played it a lot, I played it in a lot of bands, sometimes I played it less, and I've started playing a lot more recently, and certainly having the new amp and the cool effects rig helps. Okay, until next time guys, take care, and I'll see you soon.